On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, you guys know what time it is already. You voted, and we're gonna put an Atoto S8 in the Solectria Force, or my electric Geo Metro. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today, like I said, we are putting some new technology in my antique EV, a car that was around way before the Teslas and Taycans and all of the other great EVs we have today. This was the precursor. A whole bunch of car batteries, a motor controller, and basically a forklift motor. It is the Solectria Force. It's an electric Geo Metro, and you guys voted. We were going to either put in the Windows-powered Clarion 310, or we were going to install an Atoto, a giant wireless CarPlay Android head unit. And guess what we got? What you guys voted on. It was tricky. There were a lot of votes for both. I tried to tally up all the comments, and what I found, it was about 50% Atoto, 25% leave the stock head unit, and 25% run the Clarion. Now, I wanted to keep the Clarion, so I'm glad you guys voted this way. I'll put that in something else. Today, we're gonna add a bunch of that cool new touchscreen technology to this very old EV. And then hopefully, we'll put the new hubcaps on. If you guys remember, when I bought this car, it only had 2 hubcaps. And while I was on the way home, I ordered 3 more. There was a set of them on eBay. And then I sent them out to a local paint shop, and they are back, refinished, clear coated, and they look brand new. So the originals just had a sticker over the Geo logo, and they said Solectria. Now they've been sanded down, and we're gonna make custom Solectria decals and put them on there so it looks better than it did when it was new. Building it way better than they ever did. And with some updates, it should be really cool. Let's open up the Atoto S8 here and see what we need to work with today. How's it smell? I don't know if that's a sign of approval or not. We've got the Wi-Fi antenna here for wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. We've got a USB cable here, or 2 USB cables. Wow, that's pretty cool. One for DVR if you have cameras. Microphone, GPS antenna, bracketry, the wiring harness, the little surround to fill out your install. HD film, interesting, frosted film. A couple different screen protectors come with it apparently. Things we don't need. And of course, what we're looking for. All right, here it is. Let's get the styrofoam knocked off of here and open this thing up. Opening up the box, I'd say it looks like most head units here. It's got a nice big HD screen here. It says it's got a 2-second boot time, built-in DSP, Bluetooth, and internet. I guess the old Internet Explorer logo there. More Bluetooth, 360 camera setup, and a DVR mode. So coming around back here, we can see our ports for Wi-Fi, GPS, mic, infrared. Man, it's got everything. USB 1, video, antenna input, and what we've got video in, camera in, and then all the pre-outs. This thing's pretty set up, and a big old heatsink for the amplifier. Well, I've got all the Metra install stuff here, so let's pull this surround off the dash and start installing. We do have a backup camera for it as well, and it is kind of cool. You can put apparently a flash drive right on the head unit, and it'll just record all the video you want, even if you have the 360 camera set up. Now that we have our Atoto head unit unpacked, let's get in here and get it installed in the Geo Metro. So we gotta obviously get this JVC out of here and get all this trim off of here. It shouldn't take too terribly long. There's a, if I remember right, there's a screw there, and I think one down here somewhere. So we'll go ahead and pull those out real quick. And I am gonna keep the JVC, obviously, in case anyone ever wants to put this back to stock. I doubt they do, but if it ends up at a museum or something like that one year, who knows? Man, that screw was barely in there. Maybe this is already aftermarket. I bet it came with the GM radio, and somebody put this JVC in there. Okay, take the ashtray out of there. And there's a screw right here. Yeah, it definitely looks like this thing has been apart, which is honestly a little surprising. I thought that was the factory radio option, since they charged so much money for it. $450. And then, like, why would it be a stock radio? But apparently stock radio is what you get. This single DIN has actually a really weird plate, because the radio is not centered in it or anything like that. It kind of sits kind of far down in the plate compared to most of them. And all the screws are in here. Let's see, we'll pop this thing out real quick. I didn't want to unhook the cigarette lighter, so I just kind of set the plastic for the bezel down below the radio, and there you have it. That's how you swap out your radio in a Metro, I think. We'll find out after I pull the head unit out right here. Doesn't want to come out. It does not want to come out at all. Oh, cool, there's a rear brace. Let me figure out how we're going to get that unhooked. Well, this is the first time I've ever had to use the wrench goes on a Craftsman screwdriver trick. A 15/16 socket will also fit, and the screw that was holding in the brace for this radio was so tight, I put a 1/2-inch ratchet on it and it still fought. Is that not insane? Luckily, these are real Phillips and not JIS or something like that, and it didn't strip. So, that's the bright side. That's what it took to get this radio out of here. We're getting somewhere. Let's see. A couple connectors here on the side. This kind of looks like a 1996 receiver. I don't see a date on it. Knobs are just falling off and stuff. Hi. I did figure out why the antenna got terrible reception before. The center pin was just missing. It's not in the old connector, and it's nowhere to be found. So that might explain why the radio never worked right before. We are going in fast mode today. We are using my shrink and seal connections for everything. Usually, of course, I solder and then heat shrink, but these I showed you guys before, and we'll just fire up the heat gun. The solder is right there, and as soon as they get hot, it automatically solders the wires. So everybody wanted to know where I got them. I'll try to link them below this time. Heat gun's nice and warm. Should just take a couple seconds to have this connection made. And there's the solder. So now we're on to the next one, and I just go ahead and twist them. As always, some people just shove the wires in there, but I get a twist on there, and then I slide over the connector, and then we have a physical connection with the twist, and the solder, and the seal to make sure no water can get in. So, and we're ready for another one that fast. So the only special thing I'm doing on this harness is adding an extra length of red wire for the ignition turn on here. This will connect to the backup camera power eventually, and I just want these sides to be on spade terminals that are insulated, and for now I'll just go ahead and tap it in so that it's there when I want to add this backup camera. So we'll just give it a quick little strip. Oh, that was pre-tinned. Let's strip a little bit more then. We'll tie this in with the red as we make our ignition turn on connection there, and then we'll tie in our ground and our constant 12 volt, and the harness is ready pretty quick. So the dash kit for the Geo, you kind of have to destroy the thing to install this head unit. Basically cut everything out except for the outer 4 tabs. If you took the other radio out, you'll of course realize that those are the 4 screws you removed before. So when you're putting in a new one, everything else needs to be out of the way. So I just take wire cutters, cut off everything. Sometimes you might have to do more work to get more flush, but it should be pretty easy to snip all these right off here, and it'll save you a lot of time compared to cutting them any other way. Wire cutters are very fast. And we're just about there. If you break them off like that, sometimes it'll save you even more time because it'll get them more flush. Just gonna make a big pile of plastic here on the floor, and I'll clean it up in a minute. So that one's all trimmed out, and now I'll do the same on this side, and we'll be ready to throw the screws in our head unit. We'll just bolt on the side plates. I don't even think you use the bezel. I think everything, the head unit has to be the bezel because it barely fits in the Metro as is. It really wasn't designed for radios like this. So after you cut all this up, put the screws in here, 3, 4, whatever you can fit in there, and put the thing in the car. That's it. What an install. It does go pretty quick, especially when you've done it a few times before. The side plates are labeled, of course. You've got right and left, and I'm just lining up our right here, and we'll probably end up doing a few test fits before this actually works out. That is typically how it goes. So I'm also using the screws that came with the head unit because they're threaded properly instead of the universal ones there. Routing the microphone real quick. Of course you can turn this thing wherever you want. So I've got the wire stashed in there. We'll just come over the top of this piece of trim, run it right down the pillar, and I've already got it running to the head unit there. So I'm basically just ready to shove this piece of trim in there. This actually fits in a lot better than most cars do. And we'll try to get the wire nice and tight. And then we'll just shove it back in under its seal, and we've got a microphone ready to go, nice and close actually. Kind of cool how close it is to the driver. Usually the microphone's too far away to be any good, but in this case I think we're good. Backup camera wiring is routed through the dash and everything, so I'm done with the dash. I can wrap all of that up. It actually installed pretty quickly, so I'm excited about that. Let me get this started here and it'll look a lot better. Yes, the headliner's still on the to-do list, so this will have to come down one more time, but that's about it. There's not much left after we do a headliner on this car. It's kind of cool. This camera came with the tag bracket like I like to use here. So it actually has both. There's a sticky bracket, or at least double-sided adhesive you can use on the normal bracket, or you can install the tag bracket. And usually I do some like hacky, not really a hack, but I have to like do some magic to make this happen. Like come up with my own little bracket or drill some holes. And now they include a pre-drilled tag bracket that mounts right on the camera. So you can just pop off the little swivel bracket, put this on, and it should put the camera right where you need it. And of course the tag, in almost every case, is right in the center of the car, so it's already positioned properly. Getting these screws started might be a little bit of fun, but I think I got it. Look at that, this is so much better. So I'll drop the other screw in here, and we've got the rear camera mounted. Just put it on your tag and run your wires behind it. Okay, we just punched our hole for our USB cables here. So those will be hiding down here under the cup holders. And now I can route this, well hopefully, route this cable up and out of here. It's hard to get out of here, that's for sure. Okay. There's a tiny little gap for me to use. The SA is like a flagship head unit here, so there are a lot of cables, but we're gonna set these USB cables in here just kind of like that, so they sit sideways and you can see the labels so you know what's what, and the rest of this will hide up here above the cup holders like so, and then we're basically ready to just plug this thing in. We put a couple of spade connectors on our backup camera wiring, and we are ready to go, ready to do a final install on this. GPS is right here, microphone here, USB, backup camera power, backup camera signal from the reverse lights, and Wi-Fi. I always do this. I know it's probably not the greatest idea, but I mount the Wi-Fi antenna on the head unit every single time. It could have some interference from inside the radio, but I also don't see any reason to put it, 6 inches away. It won't be that different. So the Wi-Fi antenna is pretty critical. It's what CarPlay runs on there, but it's kind of how you got to do it. You got to put it there, or you got to route it through the whole car. And I think it works pretty well here. Woohoo! So if you need to pull the backup camera, it is easily serviced. We've got spade connectors where they need to be. Go ahead and hook up our camera right here, RC input, and plug in everything else. Should just take a few seconds to plug in everything behind these once you get in the habit of it. And now for our USB cables, it's pretty cool. 2 USB cables, 1 connector. There's another video connector if you have multiple cameras, but on this we're only running a single camera. And now let's plug in the car, and we're ready to stick this head unit back in its hole. Hook everything up. So that was that. This thing, it's much shorter than the old style head unit, so there's a whole lot of room back here for the wires to hang out as well. Wait, I know this fits. It fit just a minute ago. I almost forgot the antenna. That's what's going on. Now she's going back in here where she belongs. Well, it's time to test out our head unit. After a bunch of work, with the S8 is installed. The S8's a much bigger job than like an F7 or something like that. So I'm glad that I got it done, and got it done pretty quickly here, at least I hope. Let's find out what happens. Hopefully this thing stops beeping too. Did we get it? Let's find out. Yes! This thing is awesome. I should turn off the touch beeps. That's already getting pretty annoying there, but let's make sure everything works. So here's the dimmer. Dims right down with the headlights. I don't think it dims with the, yeah, it doesn't dim with the cluster. And if we go back home here, we've got CarPlay, we've got steering wheel controls, which we don't have, this nice big equalizer. Wow, that's pretty cool. So now there should be one button, right, for, yeah, look at that. I got the touchscreen beep turned off, and that's really all that matters. So now let's go ahead and let's give this thing a little bit of Wi-Fi here. This is all that matters here. So now we should have complete internet access. No, you can't have my data. I cannot believe this has Chrome on it. Not very fast. I mean, it's using my phone. You can't blame the head unit for that. Okay, now for the fun part. Oh, this is so awesome. This is so awesome. Oh, oh man. We'll leave that in there for you guys. And boom. If I hold the phone up, it's probably faster. Oh, so on today's episode of Watch Dare Go, we are here with a supercharged V6, kind of a mini truck. This is the head unit I've always wanted. YouTube works great. Android works better than ever on these newer head units, so that is really cool. And I'm pretty sure it even has Netflix. It's got YouTube. I mean, you've got Netflix in the browser if you need it. Let's see. You got Pandora, navigation. Let's set up default navigation. Maps. That's now the default navigation. The navigation is literally Google Maps, which is the best thing you could have on your nav screen in your car. That is absolutely awesome. You can add your TPMS. You can have OBD2 with torque. Torque is built in. I don't have a OBD2 on this car, obviously, so I can't do much with it in here. But if you do, you can literally watch all your engine diagnostics and vitals right there on the screen. Bluetooth music streaming. This is sweet. Front camera, rear camera. Hey, the backup camera on this thing looks crispy too. That is awesome. And I think there's even like a target, and you can like set the target for this camera on the ground, and it will perform like, you know, a correction for the lens fisheye to flatten it out and give you like a cool view without you seeing the edges of the camera on screen like you do now. So that's also a really cool touch. I'll throw links to all this in the description below. I really do like how it turned out. I really like the S8 a lot more than the F7. I like the F7 a lot. I loved it. But man, I wish I would have had Netflix and YouTube on the screen. So I can use it when I'm parked, guys. Don't worry. That's all I want it for. I know most people will say that they don't need that, but it sure is nice having an entire Android tablet in the dash, basically, to do whatever you want with. That's just a nice touch. You can scroll the volume up and down like that, which is super fun. Gives you quick access to everything. What's this? This is the radio. Oh, you can play videos off a flash drive or whatever is hooked up to it. That's pretty cool. USB driving video recorder. That is also cool. Apparently, you just put a flash drive in there and you can record your backup camera and your front camera to it all the time. And Google Assistant's right there too. Hey Google, remind me to drive this car in 5 minutes.
Sure, let me get some more information so I can help you with that.
No! Good, you can change the button color too. It's red right now. I want green, so it matches the car. The car has green interior lighting. Yeah, perfect. We're all set up. This thing is completely ready to go. Well, back to YouTube to watch some channel. Well, that is an install. I'm excited about driving this around and having some entertainment. It makes the car a lot more modern too. And if somebody wants to change it back, I'm keeping the box so they can put the old head unit back in it, or I'll put the old head unit back in it in a bit. But I have to clean up my huge mess that I made in here. There is stuff all over the floor. Gotta pick all that back up, and then I'm taking this thing out for a drive. And we're gonna have to do the hubcaps another day. I thought I was gonna get a lot more done in one day. I almost let go of it, but you guys know what happens when you let go of it. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjergo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time.
What are you doing in the truck?
I heard you called the Atoto gang.
Yeah, I did. I take it you're putting one in also.
I am. I'm putting an S8 in the Geo today, and then here you are with an F7 ready to go.
Right. Great minds and stuff, right?
This was not scripted. Gabe actually ordered this and was putting it in the same day. All right, so this truck's got a boss in it. What's going on with the boss? Well, other than it being a boss.
Well, it was like a boss, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And now the touch screen and all that stuff doesn't work. We've gone through all the menu functions, but you just can't get it to work. So
that's what happens when you get rejected.
Yeah, like a boss.
What's our record on doing one of these bad boys?
I honestly don't know.
Couple seconds?
15, I mean, it doesn't take long.
15 seconds? Hey, look at that. The trim ring just came out, so we're already making great progress there.
Like a boss.
Like a boss. And oh, tilt the wheel too.
Yeah, yep.
And we should be there. Come on. Come on, girl. Boom! These are my favorite interiors, man.
They really are easy.
They don't break. Everything else breaks.
They are pretty easy.
Gently
when everything comes down to it, you know.
Yep. It looks like all we need is an 8, and we should be ready to toss in the Atoto.
Sweet.
That was pretty quick.
That was crazy fast.
Pretty good time, about 8 seconds.
You think it's going to be that quick with the Geo?
No, the Geo has a bunch of like hidden fasteners, and I gotta go. I don't even know how it comes out, honestly.
Bro, let me get the right tool for that.
I'm already halfway there.
Yeah, let me get the right tool for that.
Either they were that loose, or I don't know, but we're making good time.
Yeah, let me get the right tool for that.
I'm getting there. Take me a few seconds longer than it should, you know.
You're out of practice.
I know. Usually, this should be like a 4-minute job in and out on a 03 Silverado. What year is this thing?
That's it's an 03.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That was a guesstimate on my end.
Might be an 04.
Yeah, it could be.
Should probably call this the anniversary truck. My father-in-law got it the same year we got married. So not me to my father-in-law,
yeah,
but
right.
You know.
Right. That
me to his daughter.
It's good that you clarified.
Yeah, just in case. I mean, you know.
Right. Okay, all that's left is this weird backup camera situation here that I'm trying to figure out in my head. So these two purple are the speaker wires, as you would assume, and this purple is strangely like it is backup camera power somehow. So I'm gonna cut these like short or long. There we go. All right, old one's removed, and we're ready to slap in a new one.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like a boss, but not.
Oh, we've installed one of these before. The Porsche Boxer got this F7 WE, which was pretty cool. And what I'm hoping here, is that a new backup camera? It sure is. I'm hoping that other backup camera works. So I don't think this one actually needs a GPS antenna. This is actually a Wi-Fi antenna for the wireless CarPlay.
That's cool.
It doesn't have built-in nav. It only has it. Yeah, it only works with CarPlay.
So I love the size comparisons, you know, because times we grew up, all the head units were always huge and all that stuff. So here was the replacement. Okay, that was the same size. Actually, no, the standard unit was still bigger.
Yeah.
And this is the 3rd gen camera, or 3rd gen.
So what happens when you delete the disk drive out of it?
Right. Don't need all that extra stuff.
So I'm about halfway done finishing up these speaker wires right now, and in a second we'll move on to really the last 3: power, ground, and battery. There's no steering wheel, so we're just about there, and then we just have to hook up the backup camera.
Yep.
Which is interestingly different on this one, but we're gonna get it done. We're getting close.
Just being a radiant heat shield here so we don't melt final.
Okay. I'm trying to keep it far enough away, you know. There goes the solder on those two.
Kind of helps that it's a little chilly still.
Yeah.
But my fingers can feel stuff now. Is this thing on? Testing. Testing.
Nah, it broke. It broke. It
probably.
finally broke after years and years and years of being a tank. We're done.
That was quick.
Yeah, we just...
It was like we snapped our fingers and that was...
movie magic.
I love that.
When you're doing 2 in a day,
yeah,
you gotta speed them up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we did Wi-Fi obviously for wireless CarPlay. We put the mic up here on the pillar. It looks good. Yeah. Got the old pillar.
Can't see it because of the sun.
Oh man, got the pillar mic. And the head unit's good to go. Got Gabe's phone here. This thing still, they're quick, man. They're impressive. All right, we're not going to show any of the PII, the personally identifiable info. Let's clean this thing up and get out of here.
Sweet.
Good times.
Great oldies.
Yep. Honestly, this is kind of...
That's dope, dude.
It's kind of annoying because now you can't see CarPlay and you don't need your phone because you've got your phone on CarPlay, you know?
Right. But that's the way it was with the other one because it wouldn't do all the stuff. But now...
This one does all the things.
Now that we're hooked up with all the cool things.
Now we need to put this up here. 2 notches.
Yes.
And then
we're going to 2-notch it.
There we go.
That's 2-notch. Oh, there we go.
Reasonable there.
Yes.
Actually, that would be better.
Nice.
Then you got that's the setup right there.
Right.
Good
I love
go.
it.
Cool.